Back again with the gearbox. In an earlier video I showed you how to pull these bearings in without damaging them. But I thought I'd give you a close-up look at this gearbox before I put it together and stick it in my gun, because it's actually a really nice piece of work. I bought this myself. This isn't a paid endorsement or anything. I just really appreciate and think well-machined parts are really nice. So this has got some pretty nifty little ideas which they've implemented. One of the first ones that I noticed when I took it apart was actually it's got, you can see there, it's kind of locks together. It's got pins here and here which interlock into holes here and down here somewhere, this one. So when it goes together, it can only go together in one location. It can't slide around, which with the forces involved as the piston moves back and forth kind of shakes the gearbox with some vigor. So to have the gearbox locked, it stops any skewing of the parts and binding of the gears. The stock gearbox doesn't have that. It's just located by the screws. And the stock gearbox, I'll grab the stock gearbox out of here. This is the stock one, which I haven't fully pulled down yet. I've got a few pieces to take off. But you see this stock one actually does seem to lock a little bit. Along the top they got grooves. But down around this area there's nothing locking it together. But you see here it's got this piece on the top. This one, it doesn't have that. I probably would have liked to have seen this connected across here, but it was probably deemed not necessary. I guess in the computer analysis and whatnot. But to stop this here moving in respect to the other side, they've put these little tabs. I don't know if you can see them, if it will focus, but just there where my thumbnail is, you can just see, if I can get the angle right, just there. See it sticking out a bit? That one links into that groove just about there. Very hard to see because it's black. There's also the same on the top. So when that's linked together, the groove and the tab sort of link together like this, and then it can't move. So that's pretty nice. Then on the inside, if we look at the inside of the stock Mari, this is Tokyo Mari by the way. In here, it's all completely smooth. That's actually not where the piston slides. It slides on this rail. So that there is not a wear surface. It's just this rail here, which this one also has. But you see here, it's all kind of got that texture. It's like a zigzag going up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way along. That holds the grease. So rather than the grease being flicked out and smeared everywhere, it's held in those grooves so that the grease stays where you want it. Just to help with a bit of lubrication there. It's also got these ports. I guess that's to allow the air to suck in behind the piston more easily as it shoots in. If the air can't get in so easily, it's going to create a vacuum in there, and that's going to slow your piston down. You see the Tokyo Mari doesn't actually have that. So that's alright. That's a nice feature. One other thing that maybe I would have liked to see was the space under here. This is the motor housing. That's where the motor sits, just in there. But in the Mari, if I put that together, you see there's nothing here because the motor holder or the motor housing is a separate piece. The only reason I say that it would be nice if that was open is because that gap between here and here, or here and the motor housing, is where I stuck my MOSFET for my trigger. I'll have to find a different location for it in here. I should be able to fit it at the back here. One big thing though, which I really, really, really like about this is the ease at which you can replace or change the spring. See, with the Tokyo Mari version, you have to take the whole gearbox apart to pull the spring out of here. Because basically you got the cylinder, the piston, and the spring sits in here and pushes the piston into the cylinder, of course. There's no way to pull the spring out unless you take the thing apart. In this one, oh, look at that. Big fat hole in the back. That's awesome. It's big enough that the spring can just come out. This can be in the gun. You don't even have to take this out of the gun to take the spring out. That's really, really handy. Because if you go to a field and they got certain restrictions on the power of the gun, I'm in Japan, so we've got a restriction of 0.98 joules. But some smaller ranges or indoor ranges, they put their own limits which are lower. So if I go there with a 0.98 joule calibrated gun, and they're like, no, we only have, I don't know, 88 or 85 joules. If I have this gearbox, I've got to take the whole thing down, put another spring in, try it. Still too much. Pull it down again. It's just a big pain. This one, it's just click and out. I'll show you how it's done. Because the spring seat, or the spring holder thing, it's specific to this gearbox for this reason. So you see these two tabs? I'll put it in backwards because I need to hold it, but you see top and bottom there. This goes in, and then you do a quarter turn and it locks, so I can't turn. Then to take it out, you push it, then you turn it, quarter turn, and it comes out, just like a bayonet fitting, like a bayonet light globe on the inside. Oh, maybe you can see. It's very hard to get the light right, but there's just little cutouts where the tabs, they turn and then they go click and lock in. I'll do that again. Focus. Turn, click, like that. Obviously it goes in this way, and your spring is sitting in here. So that's really, really, really handy. Changing the spring without even taking the gearbox out. And then on the back, which is another piece. This is an optional piece, but this is what holds the gearbox in the gun. It screws in and holds it in to the stock mounting points, and that's cut out to allow this whole system to work. Whereas if I was to use the stock Marie plastic one, I'm going to have to take that out to do the same job. You see it sits there, it all fits nice, but there's no hole. So I have to cut that out, which will weaken the plastic because it's only, you know, I guess it's ABS or something. It doesn't actually say on there, no markings. But yeah, this is like another 12 bucks over the cost of this. I don't know what I paid for that, I can't remember now, but yeah, I'm kind of raving about it, but it's a nice feature. It's really well thought out. So anyway, that's the gearbox. I'm gonna go and fill it with all the bits from inside this. This is already upgraded with all Prometheus gears and all that nice stuff. So I'll keep that as a spare. And yeah, look at that. Nice. Just like that. We'll see you next time.